And with that, the lawsuit talk for at least the 2025 season when it comes to racing and who gets to and who doesn't under a chartered entry is over. Because today, as reported by Bob Pockrass and others, 2311 and Front Row Motorsports have obtained the preliminary injunction to race as chartered teams in 2025, as well as approval of the SHR transfers. And of course, Denny Hamlin followed this up with a couple tweets, because why wouldn't he, with a long yes tweet and then a clip of just an awesome scene in the movie Pursuit of Happiness, which, side tangent, watch that movie if you haven't, it's awesome. But what does this all mean? Because, yeah, there's been a lot of lawsuit talk back and forth. There's been talk of the judge stepping down and another one coming on and all of this. But how does this affect you as a race fan next year? Well, for a lot of you, your favorite driver will be racing next year for sure. Because if they weren't a chartered entry, yeah, more than likely they would have been able to race. If there's 40 open spots on the grid, 32 of them are chartered, and then there's 8 spots to qualify, there's not going to be a bunch of guys usually showing up that are faster than 2311 or Front Row. But I think that it's really interesting that NASCAR lost this one. And after all, it really did seem like that NASCAR had the upper hand in most of what was going on. But why is it good? Well, no matter what you think of Bubba Wallace or Tyler Reddick, Noah Gragson, Todd Gilliland, as well as the new drivers they brought on board, they are good for the sport being in these races, being insured to be in, and their teams also improving, which both of these teams have in recent years, to be able to compete for races and also championships. And having a driver like Tyler Reddick, who arguably could have won the championship under basically any system last year, not race, having somebody like Bubba Wallace, who, like him or hate him, has a lot of, I would say, net gain when it comes to outsiders watching NASCAR that normally wouldn't, as well as Front Row Motorsports overall, who should not be forgotten in all of this. A team that went from a start and park entry at its beginning to now being a team that many are predicting to make the playoffs, regardless of how you're able to qualify in, whether it be wins or whether it be on points alone. So that's good having them there. And plus, any extra teams are able to have out there for part-time too, to fill in fields and have competitive teams out there is important. And that's a big part that's important here. Competitive teams, competitive fields, them being in makes the field stronger and it makes them more competitive. And for that, I'm happy with this. And I got to say, I think it's good that NASCAR lost on this one. I really do. Because when you look at the optics of all of this for NASCAR has been in a rough spot the past couple months. I'd argue the last year or so. The lawsuit's been the overarching thing. It's been something that we've all basically had to keep hearing about. We've all been learning about, and it just gets uglier and uglier. But the thing with the lawsuit is people outside of NASCAR are going to view it differently than people inside, and that's going to really affect how much of a reach the sport has. Think of it like this. For us, we're looking at the team that Denny Hamlin owns going to war with NASCAR, and it's just Denny v. NASCAR, which in all aspects it really is, especially in the court of public opinion with NASCAR fans. But when you look at those outsiders, when you look at what the news is going to report, what are they going to say? What are these talk shows that need to have a quick headline going to say? NASCAR v. Michael Jordan. And whether you're an outsider fan or an insider, whether you're a basketball fan or not, Michael Jordan is a god in American sports. You don't mess with him. He's one of the few that really nobody has a bad opinion of. He's one of the all-time, in my opinion, the best in the history of basketball. And he's somebody who has a brand that is, I would say, unbeatable when it comes to recognition as well as power. And having the Jordan brand versus NASCAR and losing possibly would be such a bad hit to NASCAR just on the optics front. But also, too, when it comes to the team front on this thing, when it comes to the business front on all of this, this is a huge, huge win because now they don't have to worry about possibly going out of business. Maybe it'll hurt them in the other side of it, but when you look at them being able to compete now, but also them being able to fight for what they see as the right thing and maybe have NASCAR give concessions, that's a huge, huge win for all of the teams. And really all of the teams made front row in 2311, the sacrificial lamb in all of this. So they are really kind of the canaries in the coal mine of everything that's going on. And I got to say, I'm happy for that reason. I have to admit, selfishly, on the YouTuber front, on the front of somebody who wants content in Speed Weeks, I kind of feel a little upset that we're not going to at least have it where like top line guys are in trouble of missing the Great American Race. I think that's one of the best things about Speed Weeks back in the day and the duels is, yeah, back then, even when I was watching the top 35 rule, but you had so many cars out there that really good drivers or part-time drivers or, 500 merchants could miss the field. And with that, you had a lot of drama with it. And you still have drama now because there are so many good open teams. There are no starting parks anymore. Nobody's going out in the duels trying to make it and then run 5 laps in the Daytona 500. But that, at the end of the day, is not as important. After all, this isn't something I think that would stick around very long. But now you have also Stewart-Haas Racing can finally finalize everything. Tony Stewart can get the hell out. We know which side he stands on. But you can also have front row in 2311. They don't have to worry about the next year. Their employees don't have to worry. The industry around them doesn't have to worry about all of this stuff. So again, I think this is a huge net positive overall. I get a lot of people, especially the ones who would be closer on NASCAR side, would probably disagree with that. But I'm just looking at how all of this would play out. And it just is going to be ugly still. But if this didn't happen, it would be so much worse, in my opinion. And that's the part that I think is a little bit like a dodged bullet in all of this. And the outlook pushing into the future is just that. This is all going to now push out into the future. They're not going to have to worry about 2025 and racing and all that. So the lawsuit, I think, will be less prevalent when it comes to 2311 and front row and how they run things. They're not going to have to split as much back and forth and not going to have to be, I think, as much on a razor's edge. I think they would be honestly fine for a year doing this. But if it lasts longer than a year, NASCAR is a business that even the best of the best can't make money on. I think Jeff Gordon, said that Hendrick Motorsports hasn't made a profit since like 2016. So there is a lot on the line here for these guys. And while Michael Jordan's a billionaire, I don't think he's going to pour all of his life's work and money into this team if NASCAR won't change. So this is a big step, I think, towards 2025 being a more interesting season, but 2, there being a lot of change on the horizon when it comes to NASCAR, how it's run, and maybe at some point how it's viewed with the fans. But with that, I want to know what you think. Are you on Denny's side with this and you're happy and you're tweeting out all these different movie scenes of celebrations, or are you on NASCAR's side? Do you think the teams are going too far on this? I know NASCAR Shill is in the comments somewhere on this. Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content throughout the off season and into 2025. And until next time, have a good one.